What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Let's Talk Crypto episode 31. Hope everyone has had a great week so far. It is Tuesday, October 24th, 2023. Bitcoin's price is sitting at $33,900. It has been an insane 24 hours, to say the least, right? There has been a bunch of things going on in the news, specifically yesterday when some news broke out that they found the BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF ticker on a certain website that's for settling and clearing. So we're gonna jump into all that today. We're gonna talk about that because the SEC has still not approved the Bitcoin spot ETF. So we're gonna go a little bit more in depth into that about what's going on and what might happen from here, what could happen, and what to expect going forward with all of this craziness, all of this news going on. Also, we're going to be, of course, looking at the price of Bitcoin, just kind of doing an overall look at the market, going over any other news that's currently circling through headlines, and we will, of course, be doing a price analysis on Bitcoin. Now, the reason, of course, we do an analysis on Bitcoin is because everything else follows Bitcoin. So when you're going to analyze another crypto, you got to start with Bitcoin first, because if you don't know what Bitcoin's doing, your odds of being right on the other analysis go down. So let's go ahead. We'll do that at the end, and then a Q&A, of course. So if you guys have any questions about anything that we cover in today's live stream, if you have any questions about just anything going on in crypto overall, drop it in the comments if you're watching live, and at the end of this, I'll try to get to all of those. So let me say what's up to the people here that have commented already in the chat, and if you're watching live, make sure to drop a hi, right? Say what's up. I see 300 Rivers is in here. What's going on, 300? Giannis from Greece. How you doing, Giannis? And Rodrigo. Oh, Rodrigo, music is still playing. I appreciate you letting me know. I'm there blasting the music in your ears and trying to talk over it. My bad for that one, guys. Appreciate you letting me know, Rodrigo. Yeah, I didn't plan that, so I appreciate the heads up. I lowered it, so hopefully now all the volume should be fine. So let's go ahead and jump right into the price of Bitcoin. This right here, what I'm showing you right here, is actually a trading algorithm that I've been working on. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and just kind of look at the price of Bitcoin overall. Let's go over to the daily, and we could see this massive rally here. Let's see how big, to see how big exactly from the bottom here to the top of this. It's been, guys, a 35% move from the bottom of this breakout of this retest over the weekend. What was it? 2 weeks ago, I guess, to the high. 35% move there. If we want to see exactly where we're at right now, it's been a 28% move. So massive move over the last 2 weeks, guys, in Bitcoin. And I think it's only going to get crazier going forward, because the Bitcoin spot ETF isn't even approved yet, guys. So yeah, it's gonna get crazy when it really does officially get approved. So let's also look at here the fear and greed index. We've hit a high that hasn't been hit in a while. If we go, let's look over the last year. This is the highest that this has been since, let's see, in July we hit 64, 65, 69. So since April. So since April, this is the highest the fear and greed index has been, at 66. Let's take a look at part of what happened yesterday. When the news broke out, of course, price started shooting up, and then what happens that speeds everything up is a short squeeze, right? And as you can see, over $300 million in shorts have been liquidated in the last 24 hours. Overall, $481 million got liquidated in the process of everything that happened yesterday. Almost $500 million just poof, gone, right? From people's wallets, basically. So it's been, that definitely adds on to the rally and to why a lot of this move happens. Rodrigo from Mexico, appreciate it, Rodrigo, mi amigo. Rodrigo, mi amigo. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the overall market. Let's see where things are and what else has been moving over the last 7 days. So Bitcoin, of course, over the last week, it's up over 18%, almost at 19. Ethereum is up over 13%, currently sitting at 1783. It was actually at like 1850 a few hours ago. So it's pulled back a bit there. We also have, let's see what else. We got XRP is up over 13%. Of course, we got some XRP news as well recently, that the SEC was dropping charges on their CEOs. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. We got Solana. Solana has been on a just killing it right now, right? Over the last week, it's up over 28%. So it's actually outperforming Bitcoin. Is the only one outperforming Bitcoin in the top 10. Up over 28% in the last week. That's been one of the ones that we have spoken about over the last year to basically DCA into, right? We've been telling you guys that that's one of the projects that we have been dollar cost averaging in and just kind of building up a nice position in over the last year or so. Another one that we have spoken about, similar to Solana, Chainlink. We've loved Chainlink for a while. It's up over 34% in the last 7 days. Finally got a breakout to the upside. We're expecting this to hit, over $50 during that next bull rally. Solana, we're expecting it to go potentially back over $100, potentially back over $200 in that next rally. So two big winners there in the last week. Some of our favorite projects there as well. And anything else in the top 25? Nothing really of note. We have Avalanche up over 12%. Bitcoin Cash up over 10%, Litecoin up over 9%, almost 10. Polkadot up over 13%, another one of our favorite projects there. And Matic is up over 19%. So Matic's been bouncing back as well. Let's take a look at the top gainers and top losers over the last week in the crypto space. The biggest gainer is Mina Protocol. It's up over 100% in the last week. Then we have Injective up over 51%. We have Bybit. Bybit is back in the news cycle, up over 46%. Thorchain up over 36%, and Conflux up over 34%. On the other end of it, and there's really not a lot of losers over the last week, and the losers are very, very small. So we have OKB is down 2.5%. We have Hubi down 0.3%, and that's basically it. The others are stable coins. So pretty much everything is up except those two projects, right? Everything else is in the green over the last week. So let's jump into the economic calendar. This could bring some sort of volatility into the market. So this is something that we always like to be aware of and show you guys so that you know what's coming up on the economic calendar so that you're prepared for it. So the first thing is this week we have tomorrow, Fed Chair Jerome Powell is going to be speaking again. I think he spoke up again. He spoke also last week. Didn't really affect markets too much. I think it's pretty much a given now that the interest rate decision is probably going to be paused once again, and that's upcoming next week. Is that next week? Yeah, that's next week on November 1st. The Fed interest rate decision is going to be on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And from everything that we've gathered, I think we're expecting another rate pause. So we're not expecting a hike. And if we pull up here the target rate probabilities for this meeting, we can see there's a 97.2% chance that there will be another pause. And there's actually, for the first time, a 2.8% chance that there will be a rate cut. Now, I don't see a rate cut happening, not just yet, but I am expecting a pause just like the rest of the market is. So that's definitely been playing a part into things going up as well as you're pricing in a pause. So now that we've covered kind of the overview of what's going on overall in the market, where prices are at, and what's on the economic calendar, let's go ahead and take a look at the news, because this is what's been driving prices and everything in the market over the last 24 hours. So let's start off here with not the headliner, not the main card, right? Let's start off with the SEC drops lawsuit against Ripple XRP executives. So this is actually pretty big. It's kind of gone under the it's kind of gone under the radar because of everything going on with the Bitcoin ETFs over the last few days, over the last week. But this was a pretty big win for XRP, and it's kind of showing that the SEC is pretty much backing off of crypto. That's what this is looking like, really. It's pretty wild. So this is something that we've been watching here, and it looks more and more like XRP is going to eventually win that case. It's looking more and more like SEC is going to stop going after cryptos like they've been doing over the last year, because they continue to lose. They continue to lose in their cases, in everything that they've been doing. They're continuing to lose. And I think we're going to see it more and more. The SEC is going to continue to back off. Very bullish long term for crypto. In other news, Bitcoin at $31,000 as court formalizes Grayscale win over the SEC. Just like we spoke about right now, the SEC just continues to lose. Not only are they losing their battle against XRP, but now they're losing their battle against Grayscale, or they've lost their battle against Grayscale. So now the SEC it says it intends to move as expeditiously as possible in its quest to convert GBTC to an ETF. So that's something that's been going on for a pretty long time there. And finally, we're getting some movement. We're seeing once again Grayscale has won and is winning. SEC is the loser here. And we can see here, let's see. The court said that at the time the commission's order denying GBTC conversion would be vacated. The final mandate affirming its decision, filed on Monday, comes 10 days after the SEC's 45-day window to appeal the court loss to Grayscale expired. So the Grayscale team looks forward to continuing to work constructively with the SEC to convert GBTC into an ETF. GBTC is operationally ready, and we intend to move as expeditiously as possible on behalf of our investors. And then we see some other stuff here, but guys, it's coming, right? An ETF is coming, and we've all known that. I think the market overall is just kind of waiting for the official first approval, which hasn't happened yet, by the way, even though it might seem like it with where prices are in Bitcoin. But it's only a matter of time. So the crazy thing is that the SEC commissioner, Hester Pierce, said in an interview with CNBC Monday, she has believed the regulator should approve a spot Bitcoin ETF for 5 years. 5 years. She just went on air and said that yesterday, that she believes it should have been approved 5 years ago. She went on to say that the logic for why we haven't approved one has always mystified me. The court case, obviously an important factor in the landscape, but I can't guess as to my colleagues' approach to the topic. So basically, she's a SEC commissioner, and she is putting Gary Gensler basically she's throwing him under the bus basically. But yeah, it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. We just gotta be patient, and we gotta make sure that we're prepared for it. We gotta make sure that we're positioned correctly for when this officially happens, because just like we saw yesterday, that's the type of move that you can expect. So now that we've covered all of that, let's go to the main card here from yesterday. The main card in the news cycles today: BlackRock takes apparent new step in Bitcoin ETF prep. The proposed iShares Bitcoin Trust, ticker and all, is now listed on the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation's website. All right, so we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into this. So this is the whole reason why Bitcoin went crazy yesterday, and it went above and beyond $35,000. Right? BlackRock, they're basically the leaders, I would say. They're leading the charge for the ETFs, right? That's the best way to explain it. I think they have an accuracy whenever they've ever applied for and filed for an ETF. They have like a 99% accuracy of getting their ETFs approved. I think they're like 596 out of 597, something like that. So they're pretty much leading the charge. Another thing with BlackRock is that they're the biggest hedge fund managers in the world. Basically, they have the most assets under management in the world, which is trillions and trillions of dollars. So they have it. I think it's safe to say they have a lot of influence in not only the monetary and economic landscape, but in politics as well, including in the SEC. So now, what does the DTCC have to do with anything, right? Why does this matter that this popped up? So the DTCC basically settles most securities transactions in the U.S., including ETFs, and if we go here, we can see it has a process for clearing ETFs that include the ability to review the ETF's portfolio constituents, which is also used to automate the creation and redemption of ETF shares and their subsequent settlement. So that's why this is important. This is basically part of the process to get an ETF approved and launched, right? For an ETF to launch, it has to be listed on one of these because it needs clearing and settlements once it starts trading, once it launches, right? If a Bitcoin spot ETF was to be added to the NASDAQ, once it began trading, it would be cleared through this, the DTCC. So this is all part of the process of bringing the Bitcoin spot ETF to the market. Now, obviously, the market took this as a signal that BlackRock already knows that they're going to get approval soon. Because if they weren't going to get approval soon, then why would it already be getting listed here, right? So, as you can see in the headline, BlackRock takes apparent new step in Bitcoin ETF prep. So the market basically is taking this as, okay, BlackRock obviously has inside information that they already know they're going to get approved. And we know that last week they amended their filing for the Bitcoin spot ETF, and that the SEC was reviewing it. Now, it is important to note that the SEC has yet to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF, including BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF. But brace yourselves, guys, because when this does get approved, once the official, it's only a matter of time, right? Once the official approval hits, Bitcoin will probably move another $4,000, maybe $5,000. We're currently sitting at $34,000 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say next week, right? Let's say next week, if we got an approval next week, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin moved, another maybe up to this $42,000 range. The reason I say 42 is because if it's a previous big resistance. If we kind of look back all the way back here, $42,000 was a previous all-time high last bull run, right? In 2021, we broke above it. Then when we came down to where? $42,000. When we were trying to get back up, we were getting rejected by $42,000. And then when we finally broke above $42,000, we rallied all the way to new all-time highs. So, and then of course, when we came back down, look at the support, $42,000. When we broke below it and tried to go back up, resistance at $42,000. So 42 is a big number for Bitcoin. So I honestly would not be surprised if we remain in this current range where we're at, which is around $34,000, $35,000. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin go up if we get an official approval news. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin move up to that $40,000 to $42,000 range and kind of, be between, I would say that range, the way that range looks like, is probably between $38,000 to $42,000. So that's a $4,000 range. And that's a range that we've seen plenty of times here in Bitcoin. You can see here $38,000 up to $42,000. Again here, 38,000 to 42, 38,000 to 42. So it's a popular range for Bitcoin to consolidate within after a big move up or a big move down. I think that's the next range that we would be targeting. Now, if you guys remember, for the last few weeks, we spoke about $35,000, guys. It's not a surprise as to why we hit 35,000, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in our technical analysis. And not saying that I knew that this news was gonna happen and that Bitcoin was gonna break out based on this news. That's totally not what I'm saying. But because there's no way to predict news like that, right? But what you can predict is the levels of high interest where Bitcoin's price could go when there is something that catapults. When there is a catalyst for the price of Bitcoin to move up, like we saw yesterday, right? And $35,000 was that number for us. So we spoke about a break above 32,000. That next target is $35,000. That's the next highest point interest. Next highest point of interest, right? So we spoke about that target, and we showed you guys a technical chart pattern that was on the chart that would get us to that target, that was showing us that exact target as well. And we didn't expect it to happen in October. We spoke about it, towards the end of the year for 35,000 to be a possibility as a new yearly high for us before the year ended. And it's exactly what happened. We didn't expect it in October, but it happened in October. And in the beginning of the month, we spoke about October, how it's the most bullish month for crypto overall. So I don't know why, but for some reason, all these big news events happen in October and November, right? So, that ended up playing a part into it, and it ended up happening a lot faster than I think any of us could have imagined. So with all that said, there's the crypto Bitcoin actually just dipped recently. And the reason why, let me put this up on the screen here. So we just saw this earlier. Just in BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust has been removed from the DTCC. So we just spoke about the DTCC, and I think from the looks of it, it looks like it's right back up. So that's why Bitcoin's price went right back up. So if we look at the last, let's look at the hourly here. So this is the move up. Then in the last few hours, you can see that the price we're around 35,000. In the last hour, it dumped basically over 2% because that news came out. And then now that it's back up, we're back up another 1%, 1.3%, back above $34,000. So the issue with this, it's really, really difficult to trade news-driven events like this because, like you just saw there, there's no way that we can ever anticipate these things. There's no way we can, first of all, anticipate that it's gonna show up on this list yesterday, right? Then there's no way to anticipate that it's gonna get removed right away, and then there's no way to anticipate that's gonna get put right back up. So it's difficult to trade when there's this much volatility in the market based on news-driven events. So you got to be very, very careful if you're trying to trade current markets right now, current prices. I think the best thing, we'll talk about a little bit more, but the best thing is my favorite thing is always to look for big support and resistance areas and kind of base your plan off of there. So now that we've covered, we spoke about the overall prices in the market. We took a look at the news, the economic calendars, and now we're going to jump into a Bitcoin analysis. So let's go ahead and jump into that. We're going to talk about what this after this entire move, what can potentially happen next, what it could mean going forward, and how it is that I'm personally looking to trade Bitcoin at its current prices. Remember, after this, then we're going to do a Q&A. So if you have any questions about anything that we're talking about, that we've covered, or just anything in general that's going on in the crypto market, drop it in the comments and we'll answer those questions for you guys at the end of this. So let's go ahead and jump back into the monitor here. Let's take a look here at Bitcoin and what we could potentially be seeing next. So let's start off on the monthly. I always like to take a top-down approach here. So let's zoom out a bit. Take a look at the monthly here. And we can see right off the bat, we were within this range here for the last, 7 months. This was the 8th month that we were within that range, and we finally broken out of that range. So we got the clear breakout. Not only did we clearly break out here of the range, but we broke out of this descending resistance line that basically over the last 3 months, we kept you know, shooting us back down every time we tried to break above. So two good things there that just recently happened there. Very bullish. Now, if we zoom in a bit here, and overall, if you kind of look at this chart, staying on the monthly, it's basically a bull flag, right? So it's something that we've spoken about. We got the move up, then we got the consolidation that creates the flag, and continuation. So if we're trying to figure out a target based on this pattern here, basically the way that you would look for a target is that you would get the move up, right? Then grab that and put it on the breakout point. The breakout point was on the breakout of the actual bull flag, which would be right around there. And that gives us a target of about $50,000. Now, this is on the monthly time frame, so this doesn't mean that this month, you know, by the end of this month, we're going to move up to $50,000. It just means, as you guys can see, look how long this pattern took to develop. We got one. This was in January of 2023, and we're in October. So this pattern is based off the beginning of this year. It's taken 10 months just to get where we're at right now. It wouldn't surprise me if it took another 10 months to get to this target here, $50,000. Now, you know, I don't think it'll take 10 months. I think we get there before that in 2024. I don't see that as a target yet in 2023. I think that's rather ambitious to expect Bitcoin to move from current prices all the way up to $50,000, because that's a move of about 45% from where we're at right now. Now, I'm not saying that's not possible. As you guys know, this month we've moved up 26%. So what's another 35%, right? But typically, prices don't work like that, where they just gonna continue in, you know, up in one candle like that. As you can see, whenever we've had a massive candle like this, if we look at the next months after that, there's usually some sort of consolidation. So if we look back to this year, we have this massive 39% candle. Then we have consolidation here, where basically the next month crypto was flat. Excuse me. Then in March, we got another 23% candle. And then what happened over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, basically, there's just price just consolidated, right? So right after the big move, we had consolidation candle, then we had a red candle, then we had another somewhat of a big move in June, up 12% move up, and then we had 2 red months after that. And then last month we had a green month for the first time in the last 3 months, basically, and now we have another big green candle. So I'm usually expecting some consolidation. And, you know, we could continue to move up in the next month, depending on what news comes out, because when we're in the bull market, if we go back to the bull market, look at these candles. We have a 28% candle, 42% candle, 46% candle, 14%, 36%, 30%. So in the bull market, it doesn't matter, right? These candles don't care. They don't care about anything. They don't care about technicals. They just want to go up. And that's the way it's going to go. So if we're saying that this is the beginning of the bull market, then we can potentially see another big green candle here, and, you know, maybe as many as we saw here. But I'm still thinking that the main and the biggest moves are going to come after the Bitcoin halving event. That's still coming up. So I'm not expecting this type of run quite yet, because if we look at that's a massive run, guys. If we look at that move, that's a 445% move, right? That's insane. If we think that we're going to get something like that again, if we put it over here and think, all right, we're going to get another 400% move, that puts us at $136,000, right? So just to get to 100,000, it's a 272% move, which is not that much for crypto. So again, I'm not expecting this move yet, but it's coming, right? We know it's coming. It's only a matter of time. And that's basically what we're looking here on and this, again, this is the monthly time frame. So that's what we're watching here on the grand scheme of things, right? The bigger time frames, the long time frames. This is for your spot bags that you're holding for long term, right? Now, once we start going into weekly, daily, and under that, now we're looking more for trade setups, day trade type of setups, right? So just kind of keep that in mind, because that's basically what the analysis from here on out is going to basically look at. More so when we get into the daily. So let's remove this here. And let's talk about the pattern that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. And this is nothing new. We've been talking about this pattern here for, I'm going to have to go back in our live streams, but I'm pretty sure probably for 1, 2, 3, 4, at least for a month at minimum, we've been talking about this double bottom pattern for a month. I think we've been talking about it more than that. I think we started talking about it back here. So possibly for 2 months or so, we've been talking about a double bottom Bitcoin pattern. And while we were talking about this, everyone else was trying to talk about a head and shoulders pattern. But, you know, everyone's saying, oh, head and shoulders pattern has a 75% accuracy, right? And I was like, well, a double bottom pattern has the same accuracy. So why are we ignoring the obvious double bottom pattern and looking for another bearish Bitcoin pattern instead? So, everyone in the market kept talking about that, the head and shoulders. And the same way that when this happened, they're only talking about the double top. So I don't know why they talk so much about the double top, but ignore the double bottom. It's basically the same pattern, right? And we can see here that we got the breakout. Now we spoke about the target. Our target for this double bottom breakout was basically, if we measure the bottom to the top, and it's a more or less measurement. It doesn't have to be exact. The neckline was $28,000. And look at the target that it gave us, and look at where the price is at, right? Let me see if I can draw this out a little bit better. Wait. Oh no, that's the head and shoulders. That's not what I'm looking for. So basically, we spoke about this, right? And again, this gives us 33, but if we redid it, it's you're supposed to measure the bottom to the top. So if you measure bottom to the top, you go to the breakout point, which is $28,000, a little bit lower right there, $28,000. This gives us a target of $36,000. Where did prices go? Prices went to $35,811. Depending what chart you're looking at, I saw some charts go up to 36. I saw a chart go up to $37,000. So depending on what chart you're looking at, this price could be different, the top here. But more or less, we hit our target. And we spoke about this the same way we spoke about the double top pattern, because we tried not to be biased here. So we spoke about the double top pattern, and when we looked at the double top pattern, we gave you guys a target of $23,000. What was the low? The low that we got here was $24,359. So again, we didn't hit exactly 23,000, but we got close enough, 24,300. I think that's a win. On the double bottom, we gave you guys a target of about $36,000. And that's basically what we hit, a high of $35,811. That's way closer than our target for when we told you guys about the double top. So another win. And again, like I said before, there's no way to know why the price is gonna go up. There's no way to know what the catalyst is gonna be, and there's no way to know the exact time frame that this is gonna happen in. But what you can know is your points of interest, your patterns, and where those targets could lie, right? You can kind of see where those breakouts can occur and where those targets can be for that move up. So, why have we been talking about $36,000 so much? And once again, I'm not an oracle. I can't see the future. If anything, like I can barely see the past. But what I do is I look at history. I look at the past. I look at and I think back, because I've experienced it since 2016. I've been in this market. So I remember all these painful times or glorious times when we hit resistance, or we dropped below this as support, or when it was resistance, right? So if we look at for 38, so here's 38 right here. Look at 38. Look at all that going on. And again, not 38, I'm sorry. 36 is what we're looking for. So 35, 36, look at support right here for 35, 36. Look at all of this right here. That's in that range of 35, 36. And once again, right here. So many times over the last few years, that range there of 34, 35, 36 has always played a part as a point of interest in those levels. If we pull up, let's see, I haven't looked at this in a while, but if we pull this up, let me see if it shows us. Here we go as well. So if we look at this, once again, where does this resistance begin here? Guess where it begins? Right at $35,000, in that exact range. Look at this. Right? So there's a gap after $30,000, basically. There's a drop off. You can see it right there in volume. So when there's a drop off in volume, what does that mean for Bitcoin? It's easier for it to go up, as you guys can see. But as it goes up, volume starts picking up. So more buying and selling that means more buyers and sellers are coming in. So that tends to slow down the market. And as you can see right here is where it really picks up. That starts at $35,000 all the way up to about $38,000, $40,000. This up here, this top bar up here is between $38,000 to $40,000. We have another drop off all the way up to about $45,000 to $50,000, which is where this one is. So what does that mean? Those are big points of interest, right? There's going to be a lot of price action there. Price is not just going to break through there in one shot. So that's how we kind of have it. We can get an idea of what a target is and where a potential target is. So that's how once we looked at this double bottom pattern, we knew that potential breakout above $28,000 was going to move up, and it was going to give us a target, right? So we measured the target of the double bottom, and the target, it gave us $35,000. That made sense with the rest of the puzzle, because 35,000 historically has been a main point of interest, a big level here for crypto. So it all made sense to us. So that's pretty much how we got to that target there. Now that we've kind of broken that down, right, let's dive into the daily. And now here's where we start looking for potential trades, basically, right? We pretty much know what's going on the longer term. So if you're not a trader, if you're just holding for long term, I think it's still a great time to continue to dollar cost average. I've been dollar cost averaging for the past 2 years, basically, right? Since Bitcoin's price plummeted, that was the time to begin dollar cost averaging. So if we look back in time, and again, we're never gonna know when the bottom is when we get into bear markets like this. But after this drop here down to 37,000, we knew that this would continue down. We didn't know exactly how much, but we knew it would continue. My guess personally was $20,000. But I was a little bit off. As you guys can see, we broke below 20,000 and went down as low as $15,000. So I was a little bit off. My guess was 20. I was a little bit off, but that's fine, because even though I bought here at $20,000, I started buying here back in 2022. So it's been over a year since I've been dollar cost averaging back into my positions. Guess what? When it dropped down here, I bought some more. And there was plenty of opportunity to buy down here. It's not like you had to catch it fast or you missed it. No. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You had 9 weeks. You had 2 months to buy at the bottom here. This wasn't something that it just, but you have to be on your computer, hit that buy button right away, and that's it. Because if not, you missed it. No, you had 2 months to buy this bottom to start accumulating. You don't have to do all your accumulation here, but you can begin your accumulation here. And where are we since then? So if we just kind of take a look at that from the very bottom to where we currently are right now, over 100% already. We're 119% is where we're at. All right. So that's already, you've doubled anything that you bought up down here, you've doubled your money basically. So in January, basically is when this rally really began, as you guys can see. And throughout all of this, I've been accumulating. Even when we moved up here to the 20,000s, accumulating, moved back down below 20,000, accumulating, moved back up above 25,000. And this whole time here since March of this year till now, I've been accumulating. And guess what? In the 30,000s of dollars, even if we just kind of bounce around in between 30 to 40, I'm going to continue accumulating. Where am I going to stop? Probably, I'm thinking maybe above 40, definitely above 50 is definitely where I'm not going to be accumulating anymore. Below 50, I think I'll still potentially be accumulating. And then once we're in the bull run, we start doing the opposite, right? Basically, the way you play the bull run is exactly how you play the bearish market, but you flip everything. So instead of now dollar cost averaging into it, you start dollar cost averaging out of a position. So that's how you figure out when to sell. Is that there's no way that you're ever gonna know what the top is. So your best bet is to just sell a little bit at a time. And your average selling point is going to be somewhere towards the top rather than somewhere towards the bottom, right? If you're just kind of writing this out and trying to figure out where to sell, you don't know where the top is, right? And then you see this drop, you're probably selling here. You're probably going to sell, at some point in this range, all your crypto, and then you're going to miss out. Look at this. You missed out on this new high. So you would have probably bought back up here again. And then when you saw the prices move down here, you would probably sold down here again. So the trick is that as it starts going up, I'm not selling until we start getting to the all-time highs. So once we start hitting all-time highs, that's when I start dollar cost averaging. So I'm thinking around 60 to 70. Once we're in the 60 range, I'll start dollar cost averaging out of positions. Anytime we set a new all-time high, I'll dollar cost averaging new out of positions as well. And basically the idea is that by the time the bull run is over, you want to be out of the majority of your positions so that you can buy this bottom. You can start buying here and accumulating once again, and you just do the entire process all over again basically. So that's that's for long-term investors. For day traders like myself, basically what I'm doing here is, okay, now where's the next point of interest? Where is this going to start setting up support and resistance, right? Because that's basically where I'm looking at to start building my trading plan. So what do I do to find that? Again, got to look back in history. Look for previous points of interest, right? So I'm gonna just kind of take this and say, okay, 34,000, which is currently where we're at. If we kind of look back, you can see 34,000 has been a kind of a pivotal role. I'm sorry, up here has played kind of a pivotal role. You can see there's a lot of price action there, lots of price action there, lots of price action there. So we can draw a line there, right? 34,000 seems like an important number. And once again, it's a whole number, right? So remember, psychology, whole numbers, humans, they love whole numbers. So that's exactly where we're kind of sitting at right now. So is this going to be a resistance level here? Potentially, right? Then we have to find the bottom of that range. And from looking in history, the bottom is going to be towards that $30,000. However, there are some minor supports on the way down. That's not going to be the only one. We have one right here at $32,000. So I think this is a good start to planning on where to potentially take a position. Because of the current momentum in the market, because of current news, because of current events, I'm not looking to take a short at this moment in the market because we are at a resistance level, but I'm honestly not going to look to take a short. What I'd rather do is wait, be patient, and look for a potential long opportunity if we do get any pullbacks to the downside. So if we kind of zoom into the 4-hour, we could start getting a clearer picture on, okay, where could we potentially find those moves, right? And we could see that here at this level, it's kind of played as a minor support. That's 33,400. At 33,000, we can see it's played as a resistance and support here as well. We, of course, have 32,000 that we just spoke about, and then $30,000. So those are all going to be areas of interest for me when I'm looking to build a position. Because remember, right now, I'm not looking to short the market. There's too much momentum in the long. You don't want to be on the wrong side of it when news breaks out that a Bitcoin spot ETF got approved. Because then you're going to end up like the $318.99 million that got liquidated over the last 24 hours. You don't want to be on that, right? So I'm looking for a long position. I'm just trying to figure out where to build it is basically where we're at right now. So is 34,000 going to be support? Is it going to be resistance? That's basically what I'm trying to figure out so I can see how to play this going forward. Now, as you can see, not enough has developed here for me to really have a lean onto where I want to open up a position. I know for sure if we get a pullback to 32,000, I'm looking to build long positions at 32. I'm looking to build long positions at 30, right? Those are two areas that for sure I'm looking to build long positions. But before that, there might be an opportunity, but not enough has happened yet. We haven't seen enough price action yet to really find an opportunity yet. So right now, at this point in time, I'm not looking to short the market. It's too much momentum to the upside. I'm looking to kind of sit on my hands and wait, be patient. If we do get a pullback here, then I could potentially be looking for something maybe around 33,000. If not, for sure at 32,000 is going to be the main spot that I would love to fill a position, right, for a long entry. If not, I'm just kind of waiting to see what develops and how things play out here. I might set some small breakout orders above our previous highs here in case we do get a new breakout and set up some new highs. Usually when there's a breakout above new highs, there's a lot of momentum that goes in with it. So that's one potential play you can do. Set up a breakout above the new high. Since this new high was so close to 36, you might as well just play the $36,000, the big psychological number. There's probably going to be a lot of sell orders at 36,000. So I would place my order just above 36,000 as a breakout order. It'll enter it, and like that, you know, you'll be able to catch if there's another big move up. If it's either, you know, ETF news based or whatever the case may be. Other than that, I would say here, just kind of sit on your hands, wait, let things develop a little bit. If we get a pullback at 33, I might be looking to enter there depending on what the rest of the market looks like, and at 32 as well. So that's pretty much the main things that I'm looking at here. If we look here, I always like to look at the heat map here, liquidation heat maps. Again, we can start from the top. This is the 1 month. The 1 month, the liquidity pools are currently sitting all the way down. They haven't really moved. They're down at 26,400. Is price going to go down there? Who knows, right? Price likes to go usually to where there's a lot of liquidity, but I don't think it's going there anytime soon as of this moment. If we zoom in a little bit, this is now, we're looking at the 7-day heat map, and we can see once again we've taken out all the liquidity to the upside, so there's only liquidity to the downside. The biggest level is at 27,350. Once again, do I think we're gonna drop down $6,000? I don't think so, unless there's a reason to, right? I don't think we're just gonna randomly drop down in $6,000 for no reason. And then if we zoom into the 12-hour, this basically gives us the more immediate liquidity pools right now. We can see that we have the biggest pool is currently forming at 33,200. So remember, we just spoke about 33,000, that it's a potential play for us here if we were to retrace to that level, because we can see here there was some price action and price held there. So now I'm interested, if we retrace to that level, that's an interesting spot for me for a potential long. And this kind of gives me confirmation that we could retest that level because we have some liquidity down there. Now we do have some liquidity building back up to the upside because of course people are longing basically, right? And shorting. So people are going to be shorting up here. They're going to start to short, especially if there's any move downwards. We'll see liquidity pulls build up here. But right now, you can see there's some liquidity at 34,600 and some just above the recent high, which is 34,950 in that range up there. So those are the main liquidity pulls, and that gives us an idea of where price might go next. Because as we all know, price loves to go to liquidity pulls. So those are basically the spots that I'm currently watching and potentially targeting to open up a position. So let's go ahead and jump into some Q&A. I know I kind of rambled on for a pretty long time there, but I did have a lot that I wanted to kind of break down for you guys and discuss, since a lot has happened over the last week since we last spoke. So let's take a look here in the comments. If you guys have any questions about anything that we've covered so far, drop it in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer it for you guys. And yeah, let me take a sip of water while I let you guys post any questions you guys might have. St. Charles, what's going on, Charles? Nice to see you in here. Appreciate you. All right, so we have Giannis in here. Giannis Antetokounmpo Are you the basketball player, the pro NBA player? I'm just joking. So Giannis says stocks are in a big downtrend, Nasdaq, S&P 500, etc. Do you think that Bitcoin is just finally decoupling, or if we will not see soon a Bitcoin ETF, will it follow stocks, and will we have a big correction? That's a great question. So let's kind of take a look at a few things. First, let's look at the DXY. So DXY is basically the dollar, and we've been speaking about the dollar. I'm sorry, you guys are on my face still. Here we go. DXY. DXY is a dollar, the US dollar currency index, right? This is the value of the dollar, and we can see that it was on an uptrend for a very long time. This is a weekly. Each candle here is 1 week, represents a week. Basically, for about 11 or 12 weeks straight, prices went up, right? And now over the last 2 weeks, prices have dropped again, have begun dropping, because we are at a big resistance level. So this is resistance, support, right? We spoke about this a bit over the last few weeks. So during this time that the dollar was going up, Bitcoin actually dropped 12% until recently, of course. But as you notice, over the last couple weeks when that Bitcoin's been going up, the dollar has also been going down. So this is correlated, although it might not be like very, very correlated. The dollar and Bitcoin, they're always somewhat correlated, because Bitcoin trades against the dollar, right? So if the value of the dollar is going up, Bitcoin and anything else that's trading against the dollar, its value is probably going down. So that's just something I always like to kind of look at and keep in mind. Now, if we take a look at, this is the S&P 500. So if we take a look, and let's go into the monthly here. Let's look at the monthly, and we can see that we are definitely in a downtrend here. However, we are at a support level, but we've basically been down for 3 weeks in a row now. And let's see how much we've corrected here. So down 8% over the last 3 weeks. In crypto, that's nothing that happens in a day. In stock market, 8% in an ETF is a lot, right? In the S&P, that's a lot. So that's currently where we're at. Overall, market has been kind of going down, while Bitcoin's been going up. Now, Bitcoin, although Bitcoin is very correlated with the stock market, it's not super correlated with it, right? Especially, and in the times it decouples is when there's news events that has nothing to do with the stock market and everything to do with crypto, right? The same way that when this was going up from, let's see, from January, so from January all the way up to July, let's see how Bitcoin did during that time. So we can see here from January, started here to July. So Bitcoin stopped going up in April. So April, May, June, July. So the stock market for these 1, 2, 3, 4 months, it kept going up while Bitcoin just kind of stood still, right? And then when the stock market finally dropped, while Bitcoin was already like hesitant on going up, when the stock market dropped, then Bitcoin dropped with it as well. So it sometimes is correlated with it, sometimes it is not. It just depends. There's a lot of factors that go into it, a lot of variables. It right now, as you obviously can tell, is not coupled with it, because you can see here right now over the last 2 weeks compared to this over the last 2 weeks. So, and this has more to do with things that have nothing at all to do with the stock market. So, a Bitcoin spot ETF, although that would go onto the stock market, there's no reason that it would affect the overall economy, right? So that's why we have to think in bigger terms, because the bigger economy, bigger things in the economy is what affects crypto and the economy. Big things in crypto that have nothing to do with the economy are only going to affect crypto and not the stock market, right? There's no reason for the S&P 500 to go up just because there's a Bitcoin ETF coming onto the stock market, right? It has nothing to do with the overall economy of the world, right? So that's why right now we see this decoupling, because those two, they just have nothing. One thing has nothing to do with the other right now. Now, things that do have to do with each other that will affect both crypto and Bitcoin, I mean, both crypto and the stock market, will be things like interest rate hikes, right? Whenever we see interest rate hikes, both crypto and stock market drop. Whenever we see inflation, right? With inflation, if inflation comes in high, that's bad for the stock market. It's bad for the economy. It's bad for crypto overall. Even though in some aspects it's good for it, crypto is a hedge against inflation. There's also there's other variables that come into play that are bad overall for crypto. So that's why you might see crypto move with the stock market when inflation was coming in high last year, right? And now that it's been dropping, you'll notice that the overall economy, it was good for the economy the same way it was good for crypto. And inflation dropping is actually what has fueled crypto's move in the beginning of the year. The same way it was fueling a lot of the economy's move as well, back in, starting all the way back here. So there's always things that are going to affect both crypto and the economy, and there's things that are only going to affect crypto. So that's when you see the decoupling, like you see it right now, when there's big things in crypto that are affecting crypto that have nothing to do with the economy, right? Another example is the FTX thing, right? When FTX happened, that entire thing had nothing to do with the economy. It had everything to do with crypto. So crypto, saw some of its biggest moves down. Let me see. When was that? In November? I'm trying to remember when it was here. June. So I think it was in November of 2022. I think is when it happened. That was a 16% drop down. Let's see, in November 2022. What happened during that time? November. You can see here, November 2022, the stock market actually went up. The S&P 500 went up 5%. So once again, that's an event that had absolutely nothing to do with the world economy, nothing to do with the stock market, but it had everything to do with crypto. So we saw in that aspect, Bitcoin decouple from the stock market, from the S&P, and from the overall economy again, because there were bigger things going on within crypto than out here. So that's just kind of how you have to think about it when you see them moving in opposite directions. Will there be a bigger correction? There could be a pullback, but it wouldn't be. I wouldn't say that that we're going to see a massive pullback just because the stock market is going down, right? If we get a pullback, it's just because of whatever is going on in crypto. And as far as you said, if we don't see a BTC ETF soon, will it follow stock? So yeah, I mean, not saying that it would be a big correction, but it could couple back up with the stock market, right? If let's say for the next month, there's no more news about the Bitcoin ETFs, we can see it on the day-to-day aspect start moving with the stock market. So if the stock market on a particular week goes down, we might potentially see Bitcoin go down as well. If it goes up, we might potentially see Bitcoin go up as well, because it's going to move with the cycles and it's going to move with the overall economy. But if there's news that decouples it, then that's when we're going to see it move in its own direction, regardless of what the stock market is doing. So I hope that answers that question for you. And I hope I didn't overcomplicate the answer for you. Okay, so that's the only question that I got here. I think that's pretty much gonna cover it for today. We've been live now for over an hour. So I think that's gonna be it for this episode. Giannis gave us another question here. The Bitcoin dominance, it is in a rally. Do you have any specific targets for dominance? The dominance is always interesting, and I look at it the same way I look at everything else. I just kind of go back in history and I look for points of interest that could potentially give us a target, right? So in 2018, that's my dog in the background there. In 2018, we saw it in the same range and we saw the dominance move all the way up to 70%. Then we saw it drop all the way down. Then in 2020, kind of where we're at right now, right? We were actually much lower. So we didn't even go that low during the last one. And we saw it go all the way back up to 70% again during the peak of the bull run. So that's a potential that could happen. We've seen twice in two different bull runs that it's gone to this 70% area. So that might be the potential here to go back up here for the Bitcoin dominance to work its way back up there. We're currently sitting down here where it's been a support right there. That's been a support and resistance area, 52. And you see that we just broke above that. You can see when we first tested it, we kind of got rejected there, and now we've broken back above it. So what you're gonna notice during bull rallies, Bitcoin always moves first. So Bitcoin's gonna outperform altcoins, and then eventually altcoins start catching up and outperform Bitcoin. And we can see that. I don't know if I have the picture. I have the picture somewhere here, where basically I break down the how the cycle works. But basically the way the cycle works is Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin price goes up, while altcoins just kind of, they move up a little bit with it, but they don't outperform it. So Bitcoin outperforms altcoins. Then eventually Bitcoin starts just to kind of consolidate. And as Bitcoin consolidates, Bitcoin dominance drops. As it drops, altcoin prices go up and start outperforming Bitcoin. So, but to lead the rally is always going to start. And I just noticed I've been showing you my face the entire time. This is a Bitcoin dominance. This is the high up here in 2019, 2018-19. That's the high. Once again, the high again in 2020 and 2021. So this is where we're currently at right now. And you can see that that's a big point of interest here over the years in its history. We've already got rejected by this level once, and now Bitcoin just broke above it. If we expect Bitcoin to continue up, then we can expect this to continue up as well. I'd be looking, and my area of interest is going to be Bitcoin dominance hitting the 70% mark. I think if we hit that 70% mark, that's when you can really look to shift your focus from Bitcoin to altcoins. If we get anywhere near there, I'm not saying that it's going to get there again, but if it does, that's going to be interesting way to play it. And yeah, once the Bitcoin ETF gets approved, I'm expecting this to shoot up even higher, potentially even going up as high as 60%. So something to look out for, because as this goes up, you can see that everything else kind of slows down behind it. You can see here, Bitcoin up over 2.5%, Ethereum only up 1%, and then we have all these other coins down, right? Solana down 3%, AVAX down 2%, Doge down 2%. So that's because Bitcoin is taking all that dominance right now. So just something to look at as you play that. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, everyone that came here, everyone who stayed into the end. Appreciate everyone who chatted. We had Rivers, Giannis, Rodrigo, Charles, and you guys were from around the world, because I know Giannis from Greece, Rodrigo from Mexico, Charles from Southern Virginia. I'm not sure where Rivers is from, but and I'm in Miami, Florida. So we're literally from around the entire world. That's one of my favorite things about crypto. We can connect on a scale above and bigger than ourselves, right? So because this is way beyond just us and our lives and ourselves. So it's amazing, guys. That's why I love the crypto space. That's why I love the crypto community. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hopefully some of this information helped you guys. Hopefully you learned something from this. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are live once a week, every single week. And we're going to start doing more videos again, because we took a break from creating content, because I'm not going to lie, it got kind of exhausting. It was tiring creating so much content, but we're gonna start back up. I did record a video on Friday. It was the video on the double bottom pattern, but I don't think I'm gonna put it up anymore because we hit the target already. So really, what's the point of putting that video up at this point? So I have to come up with something else. That was a video I was gonna release this week. So gotta see if I can come up with something else in the next couple days so I could put something up this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one. As always, peace and love.